Well, with a stretch, and a sigh, and another sip of Cherry Coke Zero. It's good stuff, MacGruber. I like it. You don't drink soda? Ah, yep. Have you noticed some life improvements because of that? Touching up a piece commissioned by one of my fellow party members of our party. That's really cool, Kitty Bird. Kitty, if you do take commissions, and I'm not going to put you on blast if you just do private art, which is fine. You are welcome to put links up to your portfolio or website or DeviantArt or what have you. You're welcome to put that up in Talent for Hire on our Discord server. I want to make sure that for all of you who are artistes out there of some kind, that you have a platform. You know, if you're here and you know you want to spend time with me and in your own ways through your presence, your chat, if you donate bits or if you sponsor boxes of minis or whatever, you know, you're helping me. And in return, I want to make sure that I'm offering you a platform and that I can help you as well. You still draw like a drunk kindergartner? And you know what? Somewhere out there, GM Vault, that's what people need. They need that style. And if you're consistent with it, all the better. The easiest improvement to your life I've ever made. What, so what all did you notice? And were you going from like a full sugary, or were you weaning off of diets? Or what was, you know, did you switch over to tea? Or are you just simply a water drinker now? Yeah, exclamation point Discord should guide the way. And staying in the lines is for losers. That's right, GM Vault. Thank you, Diadems. Stick people, you know what, though? It's enough to get by. I mean, look, I am not artistically talented, and I whip this up pretty quickly, just as a fun inspiration. Actually, I should probably put a little bit of smoke coming out of the rifle here. Greedy Flems, hey bud. Yes. You went cold turkey from soda, mostly Dr. Pepper, and I drink coffee and tea now. I have more energy, bloated less often, headaches less often. There you go, everyone. I've heard similar stories from folks who have gotten off the sody pops. I stick to diets, or I mean, kind of an equivalent zero, just because if I am going to have sugar, I don't know, I want like a piece of cake, right? I want to enjoy it. I want a cookie. All right, well, let's put this away. As you can see, ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages, and by that I mean 13 and up, because that's what this Twitch platform asks of you. Okay, Deedums, do what you gotta do. Do what you gotta do. We are going to make our final random character. So we'll have character 5 of 5. And then in part 2, we are going to go through the practice of extracting information about the characters and applying that to an adventure setting. And you'll see that with the accompaniment of some random rolls in a settlement guide that we use, you'll see that we can make an adventuring environment that is very organic to the adventurers. Black Wolf says pie all the way. Pardon my little sniffle there. All right, so. Ta-da! Ba-da-da-da! Let's open the dice roller. And by the way, if any of you ever want access to this dice roller, type in !dice, and it's right there for you. You use fruit to curb your sugar cravings. We are going to roll a percentile set to figure out if we have a female character, a male character, or a multi-classed character. And Black Wolf uses ice cream. Ice cream can have fruit in it, right? That counts. 29. We have another female character. So this party has 4 female characters and 1 male character. Clearly, a party like this just can't function. Anyone who runs for 5 people and 4 of the characters are female and 1 of the characters is male, just absolutely dysfunctional and don't watch on Tuesdays, and by that I mean do, because it's a ton of fun. Hashtag called out. Yes, the Tuesday party is set up similarly. Coffee Cat has all the snacks and soda. Just not, see, if only you can convert your sugar cravings into spice cravings. And then we get you on salsa. By the way, everyone, if you haven't looked, salsa has very few carbs and is like pure vegetable intake. Now, the chips, we can argue that, you know, the chips are not healthy or, you know, whatever. Okay, that's fine. But salsa itself, even a nice mild one, you don't have to go super hot. Even a nice mild salsa, pure vegetable, very low carbs. If you have like an entire container of salsa, I mean, depending, that could be maybe 10%. 12% of your carbs on a daily basis. And then you get all those servings of vegetables. It's good stuff. As long as I am the male character, I will make it work. That's right. So, McGruber. Oh, and I like the I'm the best. I like your little emote there, McGruber. Someone's got to jump on that grenade, and so if that's going to be you, to be in a party as a male character with 4 female characters, then, you know, bless your mess. Is it Tuesday yet? It is ever growing closer to Tuesday. Spicy's a no-go, says Coffee. And hello, Celtic Warrior. I crave spicy more than sweet already. People like sweets or they like spicy. Have you ever had hot... When I say hot chocolate, I don't mean like the drink. I'm talking about like spicy chocolate. Things like that. If I pickled jalapenos today, does the picture go in your creations or your IRL photos? That would probably be... Well, I don't know. You know, some of the channels have some overlap, McGruber. It could be either because you're making a food. And so I'm not going to get upset either way. If you view your pickled jalapenos as a creation, so, you know, something to show off or present like a craft, put it there. If you want to show them off as, hey, this is something that exists in my world and I want to share it with you, put it in IRL photos. I will just turn the campaign into a harem anime. And yes, Coffee Cat says the Tuesday game kind of already is. Sweets, and you have a sweet tooth, says Celtic. Hopefully you can enjoy some spice, though. I've had chocolate-covered bacon. Usually people add chocolate to make things taste better. But in this case, the bacon makes the chocolate... Yeah, the salty-sweet plays off each other. Go for a bacon peanut butter milkshake, and you'll have a good time. You know, whether the milkshake is vanilla or you add chocolate chips or something like that. The Face of Jericho The Aarakocra look awesome. I'm glad that the box arrived. I was going to try and track you down and see if everything came in all right. I need a food channel. Bacon is my favorite food group. Having 2 stubborn dwarves in your party is not easy either, says Grimvex. What is this nonsense? What nonsense are you talking about, Coffee Cat? Your creation is posted. They were a part of a tactical game, but you can just enjoy the Aarakocra themselves as their own thing. Especially if you want to go and customize them, like, you know, paint the tips of their wings different colors so you can differentiate characters or the like, Jericho. You could do a lot of stuff with that. It's an absolute riot. Oh, that's great. I'm glad you're having fun, MacGruber. Oh, tankard? Well, kind of, sort of. I mean, it's just a skeleton, a scaffolding for a can. 96 jalapenos. That sounds like some kind of like a Quentin Tarantino film. This summer, 96 jalapenos. It was a gift, so I do not know offhand. Let's roll a d10 for our race. 8. What is race number 8? Another human. Oh my. Let's roll again. Do we have a standard or a variant? We rolled odd. That is a standard human. All right, so we have a female human of the alignment. We rolled a 43, chaotic good. All right, let's go over to it. This is working out very well. Chaotic good, medium-sized. Female human. We are going to generate her at level. We rolled 13. We're going to generate a level 5 character. But what class is she? I don't know. And it doesn't matter right now. Class is important. But one of the last things, let's save the juicy morsel. Let's save that maraschino maraschino cherry? Yes. Let's save that sweet cherry for last, shall we? You eat and work with peppers daily so you don't make that mistake anymore? Oh, was it, rub your eyes or nose by accident? Gotcha. I had to fill my orders this weekend, so you did it all today. Maraschino, okay. Maraschino cherry is the quality content I've come to love. Face of Jericho, where else on Twitch are you going to find maraschino cherry pronunciation corrections? And MacGruber, if you make pickled jalapenos, like banana peppers or whatnot, if you sell them, then perhaps I can purchase a jar of them off of you, and I'll eat them and give you a fun little commercial. All right, now at level 4, she would have an ASI, or an ability score improvement, where you can put 2 points into one of your ability scores, or 1 point into 2. If your DM allows it, you can also take a feat. Let's roll a percentile set and find out if we take a feat instead. With a 48, nope, on our random roll guide, she's au naturel. Next up, I want to determine her background. And remember, backgrounds are super duper important for your characters in 5th edition. That is the third leg of the stool upon which your character sits. It describes, who are they or were they? What was their first job? What's their hobby? What got them into adventuring? How did they get their start with their class, even? Let's roll an 18-sided die. to find out what background our character will be. Petition to name this character Sheeno. Well, remind me of that later then, because I'll ask for names, and if I forget, then you can bring that up again, MacGruber. $8 a jar. I will ship them to you for free first jar. Pardon me. Then MacGruber, I will, if you want to send me a message or something with a website or whatever payment, like e-commerce store or payment arrangements, I will purchase a jar of your jalapenos from you. You're going to go sleep. All right, Bubonic One, I hope you feel better. From what I understand, migraines are a très horrible. Do we assume on this that we take one class? What? Yes, we did not roll a multi-class character, Jericho, so we're going to roll randomly for her class. Shukan, yes, I did. I was informed by Trustaflumph. So I will be making those trades and updating your information. Have a good night, Bubonic. All right, 18-sided die. Here we go. 3. Another criminal? Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. This party apparently was meant to happen. The story is building itself, everyone. Oh, gosh. All right, so we have a criminal. It could just take some time for it to process. Okay. You have a headache yourself? Do you need to go lay down for a little bit, Coffee? Worst comes to worst, you can always just sort of lay down and listen to the dulcet tones of my voice as I narrate our 5th character for the party. You're going to go to bed too. I have a subathon to mod tomorrow. Good night, chat. Black Wolf, thanks for hanging out with us tonight. And be well, my friend. Oh, we have a criminal? This is working out so well. If none of you know the party we've been making over the course of the week, this was meant to happen, everyone. All right, now it is time. All right, thank you, MacGruber. I'll take care of that transaction tonight. And then I will get some MacGruber brand pickled jalapenos. Very likely. I wanted to work on art, but I have a toothache and a headache. Oh, no. So you're going to go find something to get rid of it and lay down. All right. Well, then, be well, my friend, Coffee. Thank you for sticking around as much as you did. And GM Vault, everyone's bailing. Bail out. Is the ship going down? I totally understand. Look, it's Friday night. Rest up. Feel better for your weekends. I appreciate... Look, even if there's some of you out there that are just lurking and you don't talk or you don't talk often, totally fine. And I appreciate you being here. And for those of you who just stop on and say, I was about to go to bed, I want to say hi, thank you also. Because I appreciate you going out of your way to do so. And I know that Twitch Analytics also enjoy... not just viewer count, but chat activity. They're dropping like fries. MacGruber, there's only a couple of us left. All right, we got to form ranks. We got to keep things tight. Count your ammo. 3-round bursts, maximum only. I need someone on that hill with some eyes. I need someone watching our 6. Go, 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 go! Too much evil here. Run and hide, says Zuler Pie. Here we go. The golden D12 is about to be rolled. Two. A bard. I got my gun ready. What kind of bard do we have? Odds or evens will decide. We rolled another 2 on the D12. We were meant to have a Valor Bard. A criminal Valor Bard. Bards don't have any class features to have to worry about, you know, such as fighting style or a terrain, a favorite terrain or the like. And so we are now going to go to our human, because we made a human last. Variant humans aren't different mechanically here, so we're just going to use the same stats. I'm going to roll a percentile set, and let's figure out how old our character is. 4. Oh, we have another child prodigy? Zulerpie. Zulerpie. You wanted Oliver Twist? You got Oliver Twist. And it all happened through just the roll of the dice. Step by step along the way. Does College of S-Words have fighting style? It might. I'm not familiar with it, though, McGruber. All right, how old is our child prodigy criminal bard? We're starting at 5, and we're going to add 1d6 years. Although, honestly, my original chart, I might go through and edit this just a little bit, but still, I don't mind doing this. 4. She is 9 years old. Just about ready to go out on that Pokemon adventure. But, of course, is she 9? Or have there been some magic or some Underdark tinkerings? Or some illusion magic or something that has happened? Child prodigy. 9 years old. 12-sided. That's how it happened. This is why I absolutely love our character creation. Especially over the course of time as we're building a story and we're finding these connections. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to modify. Like, her base height would be 4'8". I'm willing to roll like a D4. And then we can have a weight modifier of 2d4. I don't know if her base weight is going to be 110, though. We could probably reduce that down a goodly amount. Probably by like, started out at 60 pounds. 9 years old. They're probably around 60 to 80 or so. Well, anyway, let's start at 4'8" and let's roll a d4. 1. So she's 4 feet 9 inches tall. We almost have like kid adventures going on here. If any of you have never run a kid adventure style session or like series of sessions, I would recommend you do so, because kid adventures are a ton of fun to play. And her weight modifier, let's add 2d4. 3. So we're going to add 3 pounds to a base weight. What do we put it down to? Like 80 or something? We'll say she's 83 pounds. The shadiest of parties. An evil kid adventure. I feel it coming up. Gonna be fun. All right, so we have. Oh, you know what? We got to do one thing that I forgot here. For backgrounds, you have some criminal specialties. You roll 1d8 to determine that. So I'm actually going to roll 3d8 so we get her criminal specialty, her 2 personality traits. Then I'm going to roll 3d6 so I can get her ideal, her bond, and her flaw. So here we go. 8, 4, 5, 4, 2, 5. 8, 4, 5, 4, 2, 5. There we go. Ivlon, I finished the first of what I hope to be many writing streams. Yes, Ivlon, if you want to put a link over to your channel, everyone, Ivlon does cover a lot of some retro games, is very knowledgeable about that. Whether it's, or if it's not even retro, it could be video games, could be tabletop games, or even ones that are not mainstream. And Ivlon was doing a writing workshop that was going over tonight the snowflake method of writing, which is a very interesting way to go about it, and I'd suggest you look into it. If you haven't heard of it, it's not, you know, it's not a the term snowflake, I think, has been usurped by contentious philosophical forces. But this has nothing to do with that. This is simply a way of writing your story that simulates the fractal growth of a snowflake. For context, estimated average weight of a 9-year-old female is 62 pounds. Okay, so then let's put her... we'll put her at 63 pounds then. Is my height correct? 12-sided is 4'9", like a... I mean, she could appear heavier or taller because, again, there could be mysterious forces, or heck, you know, she just eats well. And she's a growing big girl. Not using it as intended, but I tried to describe it well. It was poorly executed, though? Oh. Well, I mean, if you understand or address this, or if you can narrate what you're doing, then you can use it as inspiration and continue on. And hello, Nictorac and Lysaria. 4'4"-ish? Okay. So she's a little tall. In that case, we could... why don't we put about 10 more pounds on her? There we go. I mean, as long as we're not giving her gray hair and kind of like a smoker's cough. Like, what are you doing on the playground here, honey? Oh, I remember these monkey bars. I met my first puppy under these monkey bars. And Wrecked Bullets is here. Welcome. Alrighty, we have generated all of the random prompts that we need for this character. And so, right now, we can retire our random roll guide. Everyone, you can bust out your player's handbooks and open them to Chapter 4 for the background. Because this is where we're going to start character creation. In fact, Wrecked Bullets, you came into the channel kind of late last night and you were talking about character creation. We are doing a random character creation to finish up making a party. And you can see the process by which we go through this, this character creation. What do they call it, maraschino, you ask? Why, I'm a criminal, you ask. I steal cherries from alcoholic drinks and suck on them. Ah, so the Shirley Temples aren't exactly made to be virgin Shirley Temple drinks, are they? 12-sided guy, bear in mind these are estimates based on human girls from medical studies in our world. I've noticed D&D tends to make everyone either lighter or heavier than they should be for their height. And also, you know, things like nutrition and lifestyle are dependent too. 12-sided, if you take a look at old graveyards or whatnot, if you go back to, you know, I went to an old monastery when I was down in Peru, and if you take a look at the corridors that were built, or especially because there's some old preserved coffins that were in the catacombs, the coffins are for adults that were maybe 5 feet tall. And that was the average. And so whether it was nutritional or genetic or whatever, Depending on the circumstances, that's how it is. McGruber and Zulerpie are having a wink and a nudge competition here. Nell Shear, hello and welcome. Thank you for coming back. As someone who's 6'3", I wholly understand this point. And you're 6'5". Oh man, we got some beefy boys or girls here. I'm the wee babby at 6'1". Oh my goodness. No bully, please. Please, no bully. I like to think this character is the antagonist for a 50s black and white detective show, and even though it's a 9-year-old girl, she always outsmarts the protagonist. Well, you know what? We're going to discover her personality right now, because this is where we're going to start. So let's go to Criminal. And bring up her Char Actor. Being a criminal, she's going to have some deception and stealth skills. There we go. She'll have tool proficiencies in some kind of a gaming set. In fact, with the spy, maybe they play the same game and they kind of like, you know, rig it for each other. And also, thieves' tools. Equipment. Oh, you know what? We named the other character's crowbar. In fact, if we go back to... Was it Sylvia? No. That was the urchin. Folk hero... There we go. The spy, which is a criminal variant. When we ended up making Wickert Pickaway here, this crowbar's name was Rip. So she has a crowbar also. She's also going to have dark common clothes with hood. A belt pouch containing 15 gold pieces. And her criminal specialty we rolled is number 8. So our first one we rolled a number 7, that was a pickpocket. And so this character is a smuggler. What is... Apparently she smuggles cherries out of people's drinks. Stands on his stepladder, waving his finger at Matty Morgs for claiming to be short. I'm being talked down to by diadems. Maybe Mara's nickname is Buffy. This reminds you of the adventures of Shirley Holmes. Oh, we got a couple 5'7" folk in here. McGruber's standing at 6'4". I hear George Washington was 6'20", killing for fun. You know, so we mentioned Shirley Temple as a drink, and now we have a Shirley Holmes. Some of you want to call her Sheeno, or Mara. Shirley Holmes' Moriarty counterpart was named Molly Hardy. 9-year-old smuggler. Yep. She has all the bonus crayon colors. Hey kid, you trying to buy some crayons? Just smuggle. I got 108. You'll talk down to me all night. That's right. Just on the playground, you know, meet me under the monkey bars. 5 minutes before recess ends. She's got the cowl on, right? The dark clothes with the hood. Opens it up, and there's, you know, there's all the crayons that are just sort of like colorfully like arranged. Did you bring the milk money? I ain't no charity toots. You're in love with the smoker's voice. Oh, you know what? I love Dr. Girlfriend from from the Venture Brothers. That's how she started. I got some rare crayons, elven crayons from the Kaola family. See these? They don't make these anymore. Elves call it flesh tone, but a bunch of tieflings were getting upset because they got flesh too, but it ain't like elves. So they stopped making them. You want a flesh tone Kaola crayon? Cough it up. Appears 9, wild magic reduced her age. And you see how we can draw some fun and interesting parallels? And we can reflect on them, too, because, I mean, what I talked about was this is Dwarf Beard Red. I'll let you have it for 2 silver. And so, yeah, I mean, so we can draw on this for fantasy fun. We can take a look at things that, you know, throughout the course of production, you know, while there have been many crayons that then, you know, would go through and simulate a, you know, different skin tones. The naming conventions for them had been challenged. You know, and you find other things too, because, you know, there's Band-Aids and stuff like that, or bandages if we don't want to use the brand name. And so if you want to bring that, whether it's serious or tongue-in-cheek into your campaign, you can do it as well. You know, or there's like, or Dwarf Beard Red, and of course, you know, you might get the albino dwarves of Chult, you know, who like, Dwarf Beard Red? But that's not a red. Well, that's not the color of dwarfs' beards. Dwarfs' beards are white. Pure, shimmering white. This is confusing. Classic WoW is coming back. Afraid I'll be sucked back into it over again, Nictorek. Well, spend time with us then. We'll hold you back from the precipice. Alright, Mara Jade, Luke Skywalker's wife, was a smuggler. Mara Jade always sounded like an adult actress name to me. I don't know, there's... Unless for some reason the Jade was still dotted, but you know, at the top, but instead it was with a heart, even though it's a capital J. Alright, so we have a smuggler. She has a background feature of a criminal contact. Who is this criminal contact? We don't have to come up with that right now. This is a prompt for you if you were going to play this character. And if you're the dungeon master, this background feature creates an NPC or an entire network. And by virtue of existing in the world, which is why our part 2 is going to be influenced by our characters, we are going to have a maybe a thieves guild, or you know, whether it's already established or this is just a startup. So our criminal contact can help us, you know, fence items, get info. It's very good for sneaky sneak stuff, which is what criminals are doing. MacGruber plays the Wilhelm scream. Let us name the contact Rastapopoulos. Rastapopoulos? Why that? You getting a Greek vibe? All right, now let's go to our prodigy. Let's go to our prodigy's personality traits. Now, of course, look, she's a bard, and she's a Valor bard, so she knows how to get into a scrap. She's had a couple tussles on the playground before, right? She's probably had to bloody a nose. You know, leave someone kind of in a crumpled heap underneath the slide. All right, personality traits number 4. I would rather make a new friend, than a new enemy. So she doesn't want to have to do this, but I would rather make a new friend than a new enemy. So she is social. A high charisma. And number 5, I am incredibly slow to trust. Those who seem the fairest often have the most to hide. Aha! All right, so she does want to make friends. She is friendly. At this point, though, and again, whether we're talking like Detective Conan, where she was age regressed after, you know, some criminal ne'er-do-well happenings, this was a magical effect, or honestly, she's a child prodigy. I don't know, maybe she had a brain transplant. You know, we're talking about the Underdark. It could somehow be involved in this. So this would seem, if she's slow to trust. Now she wants friends, so she wants to reach out because she could still believe in people. If she's slow to trust, this might mean that she's seen what adults are capable of doing, right? Those who seem the fairest often have the most to hide. You know, she could have been hanging out in an alleyway at some point in time and saw someone she recognized. Oh, that's you know, that's the kindly merchant that always gives me an apple from his cart and, you know, kind of like tussles my hair and hopes that I have a good day. Oh, what's Mr. Willikers? What's he doing in this alleyway? And then suddenly, you know, we realize that Mr. Willikers, the kindly apple salesman who always gave our little girl a smile and a fresh apple, was making arrangements to have some competition taken out, or he was there for some other nefarious purpose, or even if he wasn't there for it, he saw that, or our character, she saw that bad things can happen to good people, because maybe someone was acting as an enforcer, because maybe Mr. Willikers, the apple salesman, had fallen behind on his insurance payment. And so this called her to question. So adults, you know, adults hurt each other over stupid stuff like money or whatnot. You know, as a smuggler, I mean, you could smuggle money, I suppose, but this might be more of a barter, right? She smuggles items. You know, she's good at hiding, even herself, but let alone items as well. And so let's build this story. What happened to cause her to have trust issues, and also maintain the fact that she would like to make a friend. Roberto Rostopopoulos is an old Tintin antagonist and was the head of an international smuggling syndicate. Oh, we're talking Tintin from the Oh, okay, gotcha, 12-sided. Mocked someone on the playground once and realized it was arcane in nature. Oh yeah, it just suddenly the kid collapses like holding his or her head in a headache. Yeah, coffee. Hey, you know what? These bardic powers manifest in strange ways. How do you make a dex save in chat? You could roll ! 1d20. Are we making Ghost of... Oh, you know what? I'm gonna have to go out to my car and get it. I brought home a copy of the alternate cover Ghosts of Saltmarsh that I was gonna show off to you all. Now I'm gonna put it back in the store because I give my locals first dibs at picking them up. But no, so we are not making a Ghost of Saltmarsh. Maybe we're going to do that next week. We'll find out in just a little bit here, Camotan? Kamaton? How would you like me to pronounce that? And hello, Bobicus. Yeah, it's ! 1d20, MacGruber. Mordecai didn't go to a bard college, but learned from a former college member. He's more of an arcane tinkerer. Yes, and I hope you get the opportunity to continue tinkering. Kamaton? Or Camotan? As in, like, you're wearing tan camouflage? Like camo tan? Alright, got it. Thank you. And you know what? If I mess it up, correct me, because I want to try and learn your all's handles as best as I can. But yeah, since Ghost of Saltmarsh came out this week, I'm not making characters for that just yet. But yes, Camotan, we will be doing so. And if you'd like a heads up on that, you are welcome. If you join our Discord, I keep a schedule for the week's content on there, and you can see upcoming what we're going to end up doing. All right, next up, what is her ideal? And we're going to scoot this over just a bit so we can read the ideal and type it on the page here. Her ideal is number 4, greed. I will do whatever it takes to become wealthy. But that clearly says evil in parentheses after greed. And we're generating a chaotic good character. 2 out of 10. Immersion ruined. I can't believe you dare to make a character like this. And you know what? That's fine. Because your alignment is in the expression of your character. Your ideal can be conflicting with your with the way that you express yourself. Right? She could still have this ideal. I'm willing to do I'm willing to do what it takes to become wealthy. She'll take on dangerous jobs. She'll put herself or maybe even her friends in danger. But when it comes down to expressing herself in that fashion, it comes out as more impulsive and ultimately selfless. So she's wealthy, but she looks at that wealth as a way of personal challenge and growth, or as a way to help other people out. And it works. So if you're making a character and you're like, well, I made a chaotic good character, so I guess I can only have the ideal of freedom or charity, or even redemption. No, you're not limited by what it says in parentheses. These are very good guides. Like if you don't know, or you're not sure, or you don't really, if you don't care, you shouldn't not care about your character, but I get it. These are very good to glom onto as a guide. But don't be afraid to give this greed ideal to a lawful good character. You can do it. You can still play this character. The character's functional and makes sense. And doesn't even have to be contrary. All right, her bond is number 2. My ill-gotten gains go to support my family. Aha! So she wants to be wealthy. I mean, she may ultimately want to be wealthy individually, but right now, she's passing that money along to her family. Now, is her family her biological family, or is she adopted? Just sort of an urchin on the streets? Is she a stray? A ragamuffin, if you will? So is this like an extended family of orphans? An extended family of other criminals? And I think with the other characters we've created, we know the organization that this is going to. But let's go through the motions, right? Let's consider options. Because if we stop and consider options on a character like this, what happens if you are creating a character similar? Now all of a sudden you have several things that can come to mind for, what does family mean? Or even, does she see this as ill-gotten gains? Or rather, by having the word gains, but we put the qualifier that they're ill-gotten, does this mean that she wants to become personally wealthy legally, but then anything she does on the side, like the apple that Mr. Williker gave her every day is not ill-gotten. It was given to her. And so she will eat the apple because it was a gift to her. She felt she earned it. But if she does some smuggling work and gets paid for, going, under the nose of guards and such, she might consider that to be her ill-gotten gains. And so that money or those resources go to her family. But the things she does that are legal or above board or she feels are moral, she keeps for herself, and maybe she considers that to be her personal wealth. Tretch, hello and welcome back. You've been trying to make a homebrew race that sort of works like the Hulk, but it's a grung that turns into a froghemoth. Do you think there's a way that it can be balanced? Ultimately, I'm sure we could find something. Tretch, though, I guess going off of the first kind of knee-jerk reaction to balanced, I'm going to say no. Something that is universally balanced, I think you're going to have a very difficult time if you want it to go from a grung to a froghemoth. Now, I say this because I don't want to discourage you. I think that you can have a lot of fun with something like this. You could probably give a grung something like a racial ability to cast enlarge or reduce, and just limit it to enlarge. And you know, there's a lot of races that have racial spells built into them. You know, usually by level. Like first level, you get a cantrip. Third, you get another spell, and then at fifth, you get another. Oh, pardon me. So maybe you can have it be a racial spell that's built in by third or fifth level. It could be something fun to try. "12-sided guy says, are you not limited by those? Or rather, does it say you are not limited to those somewhere? So many DMs I've encountered enforce you to take those based on your alignment, on the understanding that that's how bonds and such work." Well, wait, are we talking... Well, so the bonds, 12-sided, I actually had this conversation with Bubonic One on our Discord earlier today. Bonds tend to be thematically written, which makes them universal. There's nothing saying that a noble, which is another background, couldn't have the bond of, I'm guilty of a terrible crime, I hope I can redeem myself for it. Right? Thematic writing is universal writing. So what the player's handbook does is it has taken quantities of 6 of these bonds and given them a little bit of spice to angle them in the direction of that background concept. And so many DMs will say, yes, use the personality traits, ideal, bonds, and flaws that are presented for your background. And they could do so for a variety of reasons. I mean, we're talking individual decisions across how many games are being played of D&D at any given time. Ultimately, you can get away. I mean, even in the player's handbook says that you can have fun with it. I mean, if you wanna swap out personality traits or pardon, or come up with a couple of your own, work it out with your DM. Right? Your personality traits are the 2 rails that are acting as guidelines for you to make moral, ethical, philosophical decisions, etc. for your character. You know, it's not railroading you, but it's helping you stay in a direction. And, you know, ideals you don't have to take a chaotic labeled ideal if you're a chaotic character of some variety. And so the bonds here, I mean, we're talking ill-gotten gains go to support my family. That is more of a criminally bent written bond. Though, could that not also apply to a sailor or a pirate? What about to a sage? If you wanted to make a sage character and you want that to be your bond, my ill-gotten gains go to support my family, are you kind of copying books on the side? Are you, you know, are you kind of smuggling out vials of ink or paper, which is very valuable? Or are you selling information on the side as a sage background for money? And in that case, to do what? Maybe you're selling this information because you believe that the public should know, and you're doing it, you know, pro bono. Maybe you're doing it to support your family, just as the bond says. Or if you don't consider the other monks or scholars or whatever, or what have you, professors to be your family. Or your family could be the public. So you see how you can take this in a lot of different directions. You know, don't feel limited by it. Discuss it with your DM. Cake Boss, hello. Hey, thank you for stopping by and saying hi. Oh Sheeps is here. Hello, Oh Sheeps. Maddie does not believe in strict bond alignment. That is true. Alignment also doesn't do a whole lot mechanically in this edition. That is also true. Bob, because it's certainly easier to roleplay a chaotic bond with a chaotic alignment, but generally you can find a reason for a lawful character to have a chaotic bond. Exactly. You are correct, Bobicus. You played a paladin of redemption that used to be a highway robber, and I altered a lot of the background bits to reflect that. Oh, Sheep says, my first character was literally just me picking what I liked from the list of things without even considering if it was a criminal background or otherwise. Well, and if you had fun with it and it was a compelling character, there you go, Oh Sheeps. Now, lastly, what is her flaw? What is our little ragamuffin's flaw here? 5. I turn tail and run when things look bad. McGruber says, my first character was me giving myself stats and a weapon and playing the character. Oh, you didn't get to play that character through the Endo Sheeps. Well, I'm glad you still have some fond memories. Alright, so I would rather make a new friend than a new enemy. I'm incredibly slow to trust. Those who seem the fairest often have the most to hide. Greed. I will do whatever it takes to become wealthy. My ill-gotten gains go to support my family, and I turn tail and run when things look bad. Now let's go to human. This is going to be very quick because standard humans are pretty easy to play with. Human traits. We get 1 in all of our ability scores. This is standard human. We get 0 dark vision. We're medium-sized. 30 feet of movement. Climb, swim, fly is 15, 15, 0. And we can speak common and one other of our choice. Ta-da! We're a human. Congratulations. Now for being a bard. Bards are a D8 hit die class, and we get 5 of them because we're a level 5 bard. We get proficiency. Now, I'm looking a little bit ahead here because being a College of Valor bard, we're gonna get proficiency with light, medium armor, and shields. So I'm looking a little bit ahead. And weapons, we're gonna get all simple and martial as well. So we don't have to worry about the specific list. Tools, 3 musical instruments of your choice. Now, this is another part that you can discuss with your DM. Things like, does a voice count as an instrument? Do I have to take 3 instruments? Can I exchange instruments for languages? Whether it's 1 for 1, 2 for 1, or whatever. I guess all 3 for 1 if you wanted to. Maybe if you want to make a gambler, like a gambler class, kind of like Final Fantasy, your instrument might be some dice. And as long as you roll the dice, that is what manifests your spell. You don't need anything extra, like if you get Snake Eyes. I mean, you could work with your DM if you want that to be fun. But consider this. Now, if you ask, can I replace my 3 instruments with 3 skills? Even if a 2 for 1 or 3 for 1, your DM might balk at that. You can always ask. Why not? Communication helps. But if we were to give her 3 instruments, you can put some suggestions there. I'm going to just put down 3x instruments that she can play. Our saving throws are going to be dexterity and charisma. And then we're going to choose any 3 skills that she'll have some proficiency in. And you know what's going to help guide us in that? Her personality. You know, something that I think a lot of us might have fallen into at some point in time. You know, if you're creating a character, whether you're doing it alone or with a group, and you say, does anyone have Arcana? You know, Bob, Trudy, either of you? No? No one has Arcana? All right, I guess I'll take Arcana. You can do that to fill in a spot in your party. But is that, you know, are you kind of just wedging that into your character? And so when we create characters here on the channel, I want the skills to represent who they are, what are their beliefs, what is their background, or not just from what they get from their background mechanically, what about who they are and what they do. I missed a little bit of chat here. You all are being amazing and conversational. Most DMs have encountered personally rule by explicit rather than implicit, so if the book doesn't spell it out, it isn't a thing. In the case of personalities, for example, their understanding is that they are recommended but required to use the ones that come with each background. Of course, try convincing such a GM otherwise without it explicitly being spelled out in the book. McGruber, the urge will be there, says Fallon, and hello, Fallon, but characters grow when forced to choose between their urges and their intentions. O'Sheep says, the character that I have now has a more concrete background using the list, but she's a human that has been raised in a city where humans are a minority and considered lesser than or not cool. And all the cool kids are tieflings and dwarves and orcs, so she's mad that she can't be cool too. That's a nice, compelling motivation for a character. I'm trying to feel around what people think. She values her friends, but does she value them more than herself, and if so, why? She plays the recorder, so yeah, she'll play hot cross buns on the recorder. Yeah, she was forced to in school. Yeah, she was forced to play the recorder or the xylophone or the bell. With Entertainer and Bard for Mordecai, it made sense he'd take a tool set. Yes. Yes. Tamarick, hola, and Tamarick, thank you very much for using your Twitch Prime to subscribe to the channel. That means a lot to me. And that will certainly carry through into June's miniature raffle. Just a heads up on that. The third Wednesday of June is June 19th. So this is the Wednesday before I go on my summer vacation, everyone. And we're going to be giving away boxes of miniatures based on the number of subscribers to the channel, because the boxes are purchased out of inventory by the number of subscribers. And so I appreciate the patronage, and of course that only fuels this community miniature giveaway. A battle loot, says Fallon. Coffee, it tends to get distilled. That we say the instrument proficiency just sort of like opens up that you can play this. And so, by default, it becomes performance, or rather a performance with that instrument opens up. Otherwise, performance is very modular, or, it could be a lot of other things. But in this case, if you're playing your guitar, then we could roll a performance through guitar. Or, I mean, you don't roll a guitar per se, but you can roll a performance because guitar is empowering it. You can look at it both ways, but that's a very good point to bring up, Coffee Cat. You encourage your players to consider how portable an instrument is when taking them. McGruber, your birthday's June 30th. Well, that means that you better enter the miniature raffle on the 19th. What's the website used to look at the box minis the other day? Oh, thank you, Diadems, for providing that. There's a funny YouTube game called Camp Nettleby, where one of the characters' parents owns a company selling these portable bagpipe things, so they had to play one as a bard. Could she just whistle as an instrument? See, that's something. Could singing or whistling or armpit farts or like a whatever, kind of like a whistling through your nose or something. Could that count for casting purposes or performance or something? I think it's going to matter DM to DM. Yeah, glasses filled with water. Yeah, there you go. All right, so what are our 3 skills? Let's see, I'd rather make a new friend than a new enemy. That could be persuasion. I'm incredibly slow to trust. Those who seem the fairest often have the most to hide. That could be investigation or insight. Greed. I will do whatever it takes to become wealthy. We're kind of playing around that she might have been a playground bully. That could be intimidation. Otherwise, if we wanted to give her a physical skill, I mean, she has stealth. We could give her sleight of hand. She is a smuggler. And, you know, let's keep that in mind as well. How does one smuggle? Well, stealth for sure. But would sleight of hand help? Or, you know, what else could do so? My ill-gotten gains go to support my family. I don't know if there's anything necessarily strong that would open up a possible skill there. And I turn tail and run when things look bad. That could be another support case for investigation or insight. That could also be perception. You know, as she's looking around and she's trying to evaluate a situation based on what she's able to sense in the moment. Sleight of hand for sure for smuggling. Athletics or persuasion. Perception makes sense. Persuasion to try and get out of trouble. Well, especially if you want to smuggle. Persuasion can help. Like deception and persuasion are kind of two sides of the same coin. Yeah, you're still in many ways an apprentice, kind of working on being a journeyman tinkerer, Coffee Cat. So few characters take athletics, and yet athletics can do so much. It really can. She probably wouldn't be exceedingly athletic or acrobatic as a 9-year-old kid. So we'll save that for when she hits, you know, level 12 and gets skilled or something. Or level 8. So I'm seeing a couple suggestions here. Insight, sleight of hand. Swimming, climbing, jumping, exactly 12-sided. Insight and sleight of hand are MacGruber's votes. Alright, so we have sleight of hand. Fallon and MacGruber did say insight. And, you know, persuasion and deception, again, are two sides of the same coin. She wants to make friends, but if she has to butter someone up, then she'll do so. So if we have that as a social skill, maybe we can give her athletics. Especially if she has to haul, you know, push, pull, drag, or whatever. Or, you know, do a little parkour on the rooftops or something. Let's give her athletics. All right. What is next? We get some starting equipment. So we can give her a rapier, a longsword, or any simple weapon, a diplomat's pack, an entertainer's pack, a lute, or any other musical instrument, and leather armor and a dagger. So we can give her leather armor. We'll give her a dagger for sure. A musical instrument of some kind. I saw it's a couple of one or two of you were saying a recorder. That could be fun. Diplomat's pack or an entertainer's pack. Entertainer has a costume and such inside of it. If you want to know what's in these packs, it's in Chapter 5 equipment. I think the entertainer pack is going to do more for her being a smuggler. Rapier, longsword, or any simple weapon. She plays dress up and then smuggles. Yeah, so she dresses up as a halfling or something, and she has a pipe organ for her instrument, but it is hard to haul around. You can give her something that sounds like an organ, which is a squeeze box, an accordion. If not one of the big ones, one of the small, just the ones that fit on your hand. We can give her an accordion. A rapier, a wealthy person's weapon. A vuvuzela. Yeah. A hurdy-gurdy could be interesting as well. That's true. You know, does she have a little pet? Is she like an organ grinder? You know, she has the music box on a stick, and then she has a little pet monkey, kind of. Or Oso de la Fez. Oh, that's right. I'm bringing up Oso de la Fez, everyone. Hurdy-gurdy was mentioned in the Tuesday game. Yes, it was. That apparently is a native instrument to the Shadowheart Empire. See, now here's the question. A longsword could very much be a wealthy person's weapon, too. Do we want to make her a dex bard? A strength bard? Both? Or do we want to actually make her stats a little lower and make her more social? Or we could make intelligence her dump stat. Maybe she just doesn't know a lot. And, you know, so she has a high charisma. Maybe a high strength or dex. You know, if she's a smuggler. And again, depending. If magic compressed her back down into a child's body, what she could be packing adult strength. And so people underestimate her. Or even misunderestimate her. And so she's like, oh, hey, mister. Or, hey, mister. You looking for an arm wrestling match? And so, like, yeah, whatever, kid, sure. And then suddenly this 9-year-old girl who has the strength of, of a bodybuilder or something just absolutely crushes someone and gets them to pay up the gold. See, we can have fun with this, right? What is her origin? Is she just a 9-year-old human child? Is she more in some capacity? Now, we know she's a child prodigy, or at least she appears as a child. But is she? As a child, I think it would be cool if she had low physical stats. So high int and charisma. Would she have a high intelligence, though? Now, we did say prodigy, and that could be a mental thing. Like, she's a Doogie Howser. She knows a lot. You know, she just reads because, you know what? Maybe she's a big old bookworm. You know? She just reads books all the time. Rapiers are 25 gold, gives her some classes, 12-sided. Hey, that's a good case. What are you doing bringing facts into a discussion, 12? Also, int could be measured by her problem-solving abilities rather than her knowledge. This is why I keep you all around. All right, so yeah, so if we go with this concept, then, so we're more mental stats than physical. What would we want to do? You know, how McGruber or anyone else, how would you want to distribute the standard array in order of strength, dex, whatever? Taking those numbers in chat, how would you want to distribute her scores in the order in which you see them? Strength, dex, con, int, whiz, cha. All right, we'll worry about our spellcasting later. At level 5, we have a +3 to our proficiency bonus, right? All we're worrying about is everything right here. Nice and easy. We're going to know 3 cantrips. 1, a 2, a 3. And 4, 3, 2 for our spellcasting ability. And we'll get to the spells known in a little bit here. We are going to get some Bardic Inspiration. And we'll come back because we need scores to tie that to. So I'm just going to write that we have Bardic Inspiration. By level 5, a D8. There we go. So McGruber's thinking 10, 13, 12, 14, 8, 15. So no one on this team of 5 is strong? Not unless you want to make her a Hulk kid. That's which we can do. Right? Because halflings can have a 20 strength, and they're 2'5" or whatever. Halflings can have 20 strength. Because strength isn't always an absolute measure. You know, in some ways it can be. But it can also just be how you use that stat. Kind of what MacGruber was talking about for the way you can interpret intelligence. So, you know, we could give her a high strength score. That doesn't necessarily mean she hits like a Mack truck. It just means that when she is applying her strength, she's very good at applying her strength. For the stat numbers, it's the fixed standard array. It's just what order do you want to place them in from strength, dex, con, int, wiz, cha. Oh, if you want to roll the stat numbers, so if you want to do that in channel O'Sheeps, exclamation point 4d6. I wasn't suggesting a strong child for sneaky criminal. Strength is not important. All right, so I'm seeing MacGruber. MacGruber put the option of 10, 13, 12, 14, 8, and 15. Now, do you all agree? Do you have something else that you want to challenge? So this would be 11 strength, 14 dex, 13 con, 15 int, 9 wisdom, and 16 charisma. And by the way, I would like to point out, let's say that wisdom does become a dump stat, which is fine. It's absolutely fine. It's okay to have a skill with proficiency inside a weakly scored ability. It just means that instead of broad knowledge or whatever, a broad application, you are just specialized. You can have someone who has an 8 intelligence, and if they're proficient in history, they're still gonna be good at history. That was the one thing that they were getting really good at school. Maybe lunch. You're passing with flying colors also. So they're not a dumb character universally. Especially if you make them specialists by virtue of applying your proficiency bonus to something. And then of course, we're going to get to add expertise to stuff too. 12-sided says you want her dex to be higher than her charisma. Might be witty, but better at avoiding danger when it pops up. Wisdom is something she learns with age and experience, says MacGruber. And yeah, and don't be afraid, we're making a child character. It's okay that if we have, you know, dump stats for things that you're like, no, never, you know, the rule of thumb, like, never dump wisdom. That's perception. Everyone needs perception. No, we're making individual characters that exist in a world where not everyone is perceptive. Not everyone pays attention, especially kids. So she got good at reading people through insight, and that's fine. That's her specialty. But everything else, eh. Mordecai's one int skill he's good at is history. He has yet to actually be for reals good at it, though. You'll get your point. You'll get a try to do so, Coffee Cat. And hey, sometimes don't be afraid to prompt. Like, you know, could a history roll? I know that I'll often call for stuff in a situation. But that's reactive to a situation. Don't be afraid to be proactive. I mean, what's the worst case I say? It's like, yeah, no. But then you try again later. I'm not going to take it personally. Kids don't perceive nothing, says Fallon. Could you explain RP-wise the difference between wisdom and intelligence? Wisdom is street smarts. Intelligence is book smarts. Wisdom is instinct. You know, the kind of those primal feelings. Or rather, wisdom could also just be feelings, and intelligence are thoughts. Does that make sense? So we have intelligence, wisdom, thoughts, feelings. If wisdom is more primal, instinctual, natural, intelligence is more agrarian, philosophical, advanced thinking. Right? Here's a good one. Nature and survival. Survival doesn't tell you... survival doesn't necessarily tell you what a mushroom is. Its name, where it grows, whatever. But survival can tell you, can I eat it without, pooping myself to death? Survival can help you find water. Survival may not tell you that what is causing it to taste the way it does, for good or bad. Survival will help you hunt by kind of blending the environment and perception and some other things to follow a trail. Investigation will help you find the clues and make deductions based on, intelligent thinking, where you're thinking about things more fictionally. And here's a very good example, and this is why I say storytelling is our gift as human beings. Imagine, if you will, a prison, okay? It could be Shawshank, if you wish. And old Andy Dufresne was making some plans and had escaped. And he had to crawl through 500 yards of foul-smelling muck to do so, to come out clean on the other end. Now, the next day, the warden finds out that old Andy had made a break for it. And so he sends out some police with bloodhounds. Now, we're going to presume that the police have been trained to track people through, school and learn skills and all this, deductive reasoning. Bloodhounds are instinctive animals. Now, you hold that piece of cloth, from, Andy's old pair of shoes to a bloodhound, and they're going to get the scent. And they are going to be able to follow that scent because it is a physical trail of stuff that smells like what it should be smelling. Right? We're talking survival. And so the police, with the bloodhounds braying, they make their way through a ditch, and they're continuing to follow the footprints. And the bloodhounds continue past a fallen branch in the ditch because they're still braying and they're still on the trail. Now, what the dogs can't fathom, they can't investigate, they can't put this together, that the policeman can, who's trying to track down the escaped criminal, is that the escaped criminal knew that at 9:00 p.m. there was a storm. And the storm knocked the branch off of the tree. And you can tell it was a fresh break because the wood is still kind of pliable and wet. And it was like kind of a sharp break. And so if the branch fell over the tracks, therefore the tracks had to have been made before the branch fell. And therefore, we can determine that Andy Dufresne escaped before 9 p.m. when the storm hit. The bloodhounds are just following the tracks and the smell. At least as far as they can. They may even lose the scent if it's been raining a lot, and in which case the bloodhounds may not even recognize the footprints, but the humans can. But that's still instinctive tracking, right? But the police made a deduction. They told a story that could possibly have happened, or not, and yet they entertained the idea with this logical conclusion that this thing happened after this other thing, because that's how things happen. In magic, we call it the stack. Right? So that's the difference between survival and investigation. The difference between wisdom and intelligence. Animals can have a very high wisdom. You know, we have an empathy. They can sense emotion, right? That's feelings. Many animals do not have a high intelligence because of this ability to deduce or to put clues together. And I've probably missed a lot of stuff in chat, so I'm going to look over at it right now. Oh, I'm seeing some woos. What's going on here? Let's see. Fair enough. Says Fallon, intelligence is a measure of the strength of your mind and your ability to use it. Wisdom is a measure of your understanding of things based on experience or guidance. Oh, use the tomato stat analogy? Fallon gives in a woo. Coffee Cat a woos back. Fallon a woos another time. All the woos are happening. Hey, Orc, welcome. Bloodhounds? Yes. A 12-sided thank you for the clip. Tamrick says, I know we're talking about PC generation right now, but what are your thoughts on PC generation with respect to building an adventuring party? I have noticed that with 4 characters, which I tend to think of as the magic average number of PCs, it can be quite challenging to have all the bases covered, such as high magic ability, high healing ability, high fighting ability, and high roguish ability. In theory, you could just use those 4, but it is usually... are you going to continue that, Tamrick? If so, I'll give you a moment, and then I'll answer the question. How do you determine the score of the dice? Hello, Mr. South77. What do you mean by the score of the dice? Can you give an example of that so I can understand? All right, so we are also going to be a jack of all trades. As a human, there are no racial bonuses here. So we get, in this case, we're a Jill of all trades. We're going to add half of our proficiency bonus rounded down to all skills in which we are not already proficient. We're also going to get Song of Rest, so we can help people recover themselves when they do take a rest. We are also going to get Expertise at 3rd level. We're going to choose 2 of our skill proficiencies. Our proficiency bonus is doubled for any ability check you make that uses either of them. All right, everyone, which 2 skills, that could even include her criminal ones, which 2 skills would our little 9-year-old smuggler have expertise in? Or in which would she have them? That way we're not using a preposition to end a sentence with. We're going to get an ability score improvement, and that's fine. And then at 5th level, which is what we are, we're also going to get Font of Inspiration. When you reach 5th level, regain all your expended uses of Bardic Inspiration when you finish a short or long rest. Like Strength or others? Oh, okay. So, Mr. South, if you're going to roll for stats, which... it's possible. You don't always have to do it. I haven't done so in a while. I don't recommend it. Not because it's bad. You can have a lot of fun. In fact, you can have some memorable characters that have some pretty interesting stats. But here's a good example, Mr. South. So there you go. You roll 4d6. You add, you drop the lowest and you add the 3 together. Now, if you want to go super hardcore mode, you only roll 3d6 and you keep whatever's there. Many DMs will say roll 4d6, drop the lowest. Some other DMs will let you re-roll a 1 or several ones or whatever. But so you approach it in that fashion, and then you drop that score again up to the DM. You either some DMs will force you to take it in the strength or in the order they're presented, or they'll let you make a pool of 6 rolls and then let you distribute it yourself. Or a DM might say, I want you to roll 7 times, and then you can drop the lowest of the 7th and then put the 6 scores where you will. There's a lot of ways that you can approach rolling dice for stats. I recommend, keep it easy, go with the standard array. Point buy isn't bad either, but I like this approach. And And I'm not going to poo-poo anyone who does it differently, because it's your game. It's your character. You know, how dare I tell you that your character is bad because you're having fun with it, and everyone is consenting to the rules that you've agreed to play by. Lazy monkey, there's so many ways. Yep. Or, yeah, you could have them roll 46 and forget to, yeah, exactly. Finally got a chance to DM a session in my homebrew world. It went well. Oh, that's awesome, Orc. Can you give us a little blurb about what happened? Like, what were some highlights, lowlights, something in between, something unexpected? Something borrowed and something blue. As the bard, I'm playing Mordecai. Oh, yeah, pseudo-paladin. Yeah, you are stepping up. And you also haven't gone Valor either. Point buy is balanced, but rolling up stats is just more fun, even if sometimes you end up borked. Yes, Lazy. And, oh, yes, oh, King rolled 3d6 in order, got 13, 11, 13, 11, 13, 15. That's pretty good, especially if you're just gonna, go along like that. Now, there was a point above that I hadn't addressed yet. That was about party balance. Tamarick was asking about. In 5th edition, Tamarick, you don't really have to worry about that. In 5th edition, rogues are arguably the best tank. Not paladins, not barbarians, rogues. Paladins can also make, if you want them, can be awesome, superior damage dealers, and not rogues. You have rangers that can cure hit points, druids that can cure hit points, clerics that can cure hit points, and paladins that can cure hit points. And even depending, it could be a warlock or a sorcerer that could cure hit points also. Oh, and bards. Bards can cure hit points. So you don't... A lot of the old stereotypes, especially the ones from 4th edition, where a party had slots, you know, the leader, the striker, the defender, and the controller. A lot of these old thinking ways of your party has to have someone in armor, has to have a thief. Look how many backgrounds give you thieves' tool proficiencies. And you don't have to be a rogue. So I don't think you really have to worry. I mean, a party of 4 or 5 people can be very functional. And you know what? I ran a campaign where there were no healers in the party. And you know how they got by? Strategy, picking their fights, using their environment, or buying potions, or hiring NPCs, either as followers, or they would just buy curative or disease removal services in the city or the places that they'd visit. Or they'd have a scroll or something. So I don't, especially in 5th ed, you don't have to make a balanced party. Like, all right, someone has to be the fighter or whatever. Someone has to be this. No, just disregard that. Have fun and play whatever you want. We made a party of 4 bards as a band, as a challenge. Because I told you, it was about a year ago, a little over a year ago, I want to say. You can have a party of all the same class. And all the characters are going to be different. They're going to do different things, approach things differently. They're still going to have different attitudes, different strengths and weaknesses. And so we made a band called the Healing Words. And it functioned. It functioned really well. And everyone was a bard, except one. Their manager wasn't a bard. I forget what she was. But she could have been a bard. We opened it up. But we forced ourselves to make 4 bards using our random roll method. And Mr. South, thank you for the follow. Rogues can be tanks. Now, I'm going to challenge your perception that a tank is someone who has to be covered in metal and move slowly and be the dumb brute hitter. We're talking about if you're using the abilities that rogues have for kiting, for damage mitigation, for avoidance, for the ability to climb or jump or do all this stuff. Rogues, if you use their abilities in those fashions, can be one of the strongest tanks in 5th ed. I don't think that an Eldritch Knight gets Cure Wounds because it's off the wizard spell list. Play a rogue with a lot of potions. There you go, Fallon. Meta kit? Yeah. 2 players, says Orc, and they had each made characters in their own time and without consulting each other. Both came up with a backstory in which they were criminals and were in prison. So the first session was a prison break. The rogue created improvised daggers with pieces of glass and killed 2 guards in his own cell moments before the escape. That sounds very cool and high stakes. You've been fond of playing a medic rogue? Fallon, rogues make awesome battlefield medics. You know why? Because they can dash and disengage as a bonus action. They are extremely mobile, can avoid enemy fire, and can use their item interactions to administer potions, especially if you're an arcane trickster. An arcane trickster can make an extremely potent battlefield medic. Extremely. Very functional, very knowledgeable, very skilled. I mean, are these concepts... I'm obviously, like, some of you individually are thinking about this. Have you ever thought about that? You know, or that a rogue always has to be the sneaky, charismatic, you know, thief, instead of a noble, medically trained doctor who's just good at getting around in a high-stress situation. Rogues can be surgeons. You want to talk about someone who's good with their hands? Can you replace thieves' tools with surgical tools? Because it's kind of the same thing. You better believe you can play a surgeon character as a rogue and have an amazing time with it. An amazing time. Can players combine their abilities, say to clerics use the same healing ability at the same time? Like both roll or no? I'm not sure I follow you, Nelshir. Yeah, rogues can mitigate a ton of damage. Lacking in key roles in a party just means you have to think more about suitable approaches. I've played in all rogue groups with no healing as far back as 2nd edition AD&D, says Lazy Monkey. Just went for different sorts of adventures than typical hack and slash. Exactly. Your environment is so huge to incorporate into what you're doing. Sleight of hand that bullet out of there. Exactly, Fallon. Was a barber and bloodlets people? Ah. A surgeon rogue. That makes me think of the Doctor and Master and Commander. Tretch says, thanks for the tip on making the Grung Froghemoth a racial ability. You solved a lot of problems I was having before with class decisions. I'm glad myself or others, Tretch. Hey, we're here to talk about this stuff. We're here to help each other out. So I'm glad that hanging out here and tolerating us has borne you fruit. Rogue with Magic Initiate Cleric and give him some cleric-y flavor. Yeah, you could do that as well, Fallon. Perhaps they're asking about the help action? Maybe? He's emulating the Cat Lord by being a rogue. All right, so we have our stat distribution here. McGruber had proposed this is the way of doing things, and we're almost to dropping that in there. We're gonna get a couple things from College of Valor first. We're gonna get bonus proficiencies, but we already have that involved. Oh, we have simple martial and shields also. Combat inspiration. So we're gonna change that to C inspiration. A creature that has Bardic Inspiration die from you can roll that die to add the number rolled to a weapon damage roll that it just made. Or, when an attack roll is made against the creature, it can use its reaction to roll the Bardic Inspiration and add the number rolled to its AC against that attack, after seeing the roll but before knowing whether it hits or misses. Offensive and defensive. Good stuff on the battlefield. She probably uses it... well, wait, can you inspire yourself? I forget offhand. I've been lecturing so much. My brain is scattered everywhere. And oh, we're so close. We're almost there to get an extra attack. One more level. All right. So anyway, this is what we've gotten. Ba-da-da. Now that we have the chassis of our character, right? We generally like. Were you imagining what she looks like? You know what our child prodigy, Valor Bard Smuggler looks like. You know, does she kind of... Are you getting kind of a scrappy Wendy look? You know, she's got red hair, maybe missing a tooth, big grin, lots of freckles. Is she sort of a dark-haired, mysterious girl, keeps it short, kind of like a pixie cut in case she, you know, as a smuggler, in case someone grabs her? You know, she keeps short hair, wears like short sleeve shirts, kind of a thing, to be more nimble and stealthy. Does she have... does she carry herself like a child of affluent wealth? And she has the long, kind of like honey brunette, like curly hair. And she carries herself like her skin can be fair, or it could be even dark, but it has a perfect complexion. You know, we're envisioning her, and now we know her personality as well. And so we're giving some shape to this ethereal form we're pulling, and we're forming in our imaginations. Now that we have the chassis, right, let's drop the Hemi into it. And that's going to be our scores. So strength goes to 11. Dexterity goes to 14. Constitution goes to 13. Intelligence goes to 15. Wisdom goes to 9. And Charisma goes to 16. Now, at level 4, we're going to get one ability score improvement, and we rolled that we're going to take the stat bump instead of the feat. So, where would we be applying either 2 points to 1 score or 1 point to 2 scores? As she reached level 4, as she is growing in mind or body, where does this manifest in her mechanics, in her math? Got to run. All right, Mr. Self, thanks for stopping by. I hope we're able to help you out. Dex Int or Int Charisma. I'm seeing a Wiz Con and a Wiz Dex. All right, so pale skin but often dirty and sharp features. With blonde hair, you were thinking also? Blonde hair, pale skin, sharp features. All right, so between the folks who shouted out where they see her growing at level 4, I see 2 Dex, 2 Int. So let's put her dexterity. Or wait, I had a Wiz Dex? Or in a Wiz Con, I'm sorry. Yeah, Wiz Dex, Wiz Con, Dex Int. So I'm sorry, it was Wisdom. So we're going to put 1 in Wisdom. And then I had a Dex, Con, or Int. Oh no, and then 2 in Dex. And then, so we're going to put 1 in Dexterity. Alright, so if we do that... And I mean, look, if you're playing along at home, you can change this around if you're drawing up this character on the side. Or don't forget, at the end of the week, this PDF will be made available to you on our Discord for free, and you could download her and play with her. And you could change her stats up, and you could make her into whatever you want her to be. All right, so strength is 0, dexterity is 2, constitution is 1, intelligence is 2, wisdom is 0, and charisma is 3. Our strength saving throw is going to be 0, but our athletics is 3. Our dexterity saving throw is going to be 5, with sleight of hand and stealth. Oh, by the way, what are our 2 skills? 2 skills for expertise. What is she extra good at doing? Any of her skills for which she has proficiency, we can make extra proficient. What is her expertise? Saving throw and constitution is a 1. Now, intelligence, the saving throw is 2, But you'll notice everything else is going to be a 3. And that's because we are a Jill of all trades. We're adding half our proficiency bonus rounded down to skills in which we are not proficient. The save is not it doesn't count for that. So our wisdom saving throw is 0. But our animal handling is 1, as is our medicine, perception, and survival. But our insight is going to be 3. Stealth as a smuggler and deception. So anyone else want to throw ideas out there? It's not. I don't mind those at all, MacGruber. But hey, if we're all gonna develop this character together, she is all our child. It takes a village to raise a PC child. Marlboro Man, smuggler, and sleight of hand. Okay, that could make sense. Saving throw for charisma is 6. Deception is 6. And then we're going to have 4 intimidation, performance, and persuasion. So she does like making new friends. She's slow to trust. I will do whatever it takes to become wealthy. My ill-gotten gains support my family, and I turn tail and run when things look bad. Could that be athletics for running away also? Because not all smugglers have to sneak. Sometimes a simple disguise by using deception can make you smuggle in plain sight. I definitely think the sleight of hand will work though for her. We could put or I'm not, did I read so I said sleight of hand. Did I also read stealth? I think so. Stealth or deception. So if deception is for disguises and such, we could put it in there too. But for the sake of keeping things moving, I'll drop it in deception. Pardon, in sleight of hand. When you have expertise, you add twice your proficiency bonus. That means for sleight of hand, we have an 8. And for deception, we're up to a 9 already. This can be a very manipulative little child. All right, now that we have these scores, let's check out some other things. Her initiative is going to be a 3. Now, hold up a minute. For all of you out there, why is her initiative a 3 when her dexterity modifier is a 2? Her background is a smuggler. Tamarick. Alright, so the answer to the riddle, why is her dexterity mod a 3? Is because initiative is a dexterity check. Your jack of all trades, or in this case, Jill of all trades, adds your proficiency bonus to ability checks. That is going to include initiative. And so while her dexterity modifier is 2, Jill of all trades is going to give her a +3. You get another interaction like this with the champion fighter, where they have bonuses on dex checks. That makes sense, Zulerpie. Now, her armor class, if she's wearing leather armor, that's an 11 plus dex, so that's 13. If she was wielding a shield, which maybe she does, or at least she knows how to use it, maybe she doesn't always carry one, that would bring it up to a 15. But if we're just imagining her in some basic leather armor, then 13 it is. Her passive perception is 10 plus her perception modifier, which is 11. She is not, tremendously naturally aware. But that's fine, because she's focused on the things that she's doing. her current hit points. At level 1, you get your maximum hit points that your hit die provide. You are a D8 hit die class as a bard, so you get 8 hit points. Every level beyond that, so her next 4 levels of her 5, is half plus 1. Now, your Dungeon Master may want you to roll for your hit points. Okay. There's, again, like rolling for stats, that can work. I suggest doing the half plus 1. It's in your favor, and it's guaranteed progress. I mean, you may want to play Kronk the Barbarian, but when you roll 3 levels of a 1 or 2 hit point on a D12, you might not feel as, like, battle strong, because you just left, 20 hit points on the field. So in this case, this is going to be 4 times 5, so 4 levels of 5. Half of 8 is 4, plus 1 is 5. And then for each of our levels, all 5 of them, you get bonus hit points equal to your Constitution modifier. So there we go. Here's our handy-dandy math. So we have 5 plus 20 plus 8. So we have 28. We have 33 hit points at level 5. For weapons which we can use dexterity to attack, yes, even melee weapons, because they have finesse, this would be a plus 5 to attack. Rapier is 1d8 plus 2. Dagger is 1d4 plus 2. And they're both piercing. Pardon me. Now, if we're attacking with our spells are based off charisma. So in this case, it's going to be a plus 6 to hit, because we have a 3 charisma modifier instead of the 2 dex for the weapons, and we're proficient. I'd hope so anyway, as a bard, we're proficient with spells. To save against the effects of our spells, always add 8. AAE. Always add 8. Why? It's the math. Your attack modifier plus 8 will give you saves in most, if not all, instances of something producing a save. Monks get key ability saves based off of wisdom plus proficiency plus 8. Fighters and their techniques, strength or dex plus proficiency plus 8. All spellcasters, proficiency plus modifier plus 8. It is what it is. Now, she has earned a name, everyone. She's no longer a set of stats. She is a living, breathing human being. What would you like to name her? And while you're thinking of that, she is casting as a bard. Charisma is our modifier. We had a 14 save DC with a plus 6 to hit. And we have some combat inspiration, which are D8s. And we get a number of those equal to her charisma modifier, which is 3. And so we'll put that in this miscellaneous section. You could use this for key points or lay on hands, that sort of stuff. Let me add a note. Sleight of hand and deception for her expertise. All right. Cantrips. We have 3 cantrips. I'm going to put the placeholders here. We can come back and fill those in, but I just want to generally show how this is working. And her spell slots, we have 4, 3, and 2. Whoops. 4, 3, and 2. As a bard, we start with 4 spells known at level 1. At level 2, we go up to 5, but we don't have any second level spells yet. At level 3 and level 4. And then at level 5, we now have our 8th spell. I like doing it this way. You could do it differently, but it helps keep track of when and where we got things. Now, this is if we just took spells as we could. As a bard, you can retrain your spells on a level up. You can retrain 1 spell. And so if you weren't getting a lot of traction out of this spell here, this one we learned at level 2, at level 5, not only do you get your 8th spell, but you could end up moving the spell that you would have gotten at level 2 over here. Right? And then if you want to signify it like level 2 moved at level 5 or something. you know, depending on your comfort level or DM or, you know, how you want to track that. So you have some options to play with your spells. But this is a pretty vanilla distribution, and we can go through and choose her spells because when you choose your spells, it's almost a diary of your character. Why did you get those spells? Because you're reacting to the environment in which you live, or you need those spells to perform a certain you know, duty or to a lifestyle. But I'm gonna have to get up. I'm gonna take a quick little break, everyone. I'll make sure to. Oh, we are. Character's background. If she likes to make friends, yeah. So deception. Is there a link to the character building program, and is it free? The character builder is there's the I don't even want to call it the prototype. We used the spreadsheet for a year. It's on our Discord, Tamrick. It's a pinned message in Table Talk. You can use the old character generator that we used. But the one that you saw me using here, this one is not publicly available. I mean, not that there's exactly a secret to it. You can see what's here, but this is not publicly open for use right now. It could be later. Mara Sheeno. Also, we're top 4 in D&D streams. Woo! Da-da-da-da. Da-da-da-da. You're gonna head to bed. All right, McGruber. Hey, thanks for messaging me. I'll pick up those jalapenos that you have, and let's name our character Maraschino here before you go to bed, as that was the inspiration from prior conversation. Maraschino will live on in my dreams. Aw. Give her a good home, McGruber. She needs to be raised right. She needs to be sent to a nice proper school and brought up as a lady. All right, let's take a little break, everyone. Get a snack, a drink, refresh yourselves, do what you got to do, and we'll come back. And when we do, we're going to have another random roll guide, and we're going to draw information off of our character sheets in order to create an adventuring environment that will be cool and unique itself, but also be a nice organic fit for the characters that are going to be playing in whatever adventure we come up with.